Welcome to part two of the proposal story. So, if you haven't watched part one, go back and do that. We have left off with me riding up behind a Greek god on a Vespa looking adorable.
And he's riding up to quite the hectic scene of Cam and
Mm.
I rapidly trying to get ready for this photo shoot that is pressed for time for a sunset specific spot. And of course, coming off from riding horses, we're a little bit of a mess with helmet hair and sea salt and all sorts of stuff. And for the actual horseback ride, we had to just wear our dresses hiked up over our hips. So we're trying to pull those down, take our leggings off, and get prepared. And that was just a taste of how hectic that day was. Really, it started before that with us realizing, oh, Will's got to get a haircut for these photos.
Yeah, I didn't come prepared there. And so, while they're getting lunch, I am walking around Noxos trying to find a barber that's one, open still, and two, has availability. And some very nice barber took pity on me after I told him what the situation was, and he let me cut some of his clients, and I got a haircut. But then I show up to lunch, and Cam's like asleep on a bench in a restaurant, and I'm like,
I was not asleep. I was literally blacked out and not drunk. We're talking heat exhaustion, not feeling well. I thought I was just hungry and that food and some water would, get me somewhere. And no, I felt awful.
So she's fighting that, and then we're over here just looking at each other like, "Whoa, we're supposed to be on a horse in horses in a couple hours, and she can't even sit up in a restaurant. This is not going good."
So we're trying not to panic as best as possible and just hoping she'll feel better. She'll
Mhm.
feel better soon. Luckily, she did. But then, right before we actually departed for her horseback ride, we realized something really important. Uh-oh, we don't have Will's wallet. We're searching frantically through the hotel room trying to find it because we had to pay not only the horseback ride, but the photographer in cash too. Couldn't find it. And so before we even arrive for the horseback ride, we are frantically trying to find an ATM. Eventually do, and poor Cam had to pull her own cash to pay for her engagement photos that she didn't know were going to be engagement photos.
Yeah.
Money well spent.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
paid you back also. So, hey. And for those wondering, my wallet was in the Mediterranean. So, lesson learned, if locals are leaving a beach, it's probably high tide and you should leave too. So the girls are ready. They're looking beautiful after their messy horseback ride. And I show up with the photographer who was so prepared, and he was awesome. He brought champagne, and he brought three glasses, and he brought sparklers and all these things. And in that moment, I realized I am wearing pants that are linen and they don't have pockets. And they're women, so they don't get pockets. And I was like, uh-oh, what are we going to do? And so I pulled out the high school Will move, and I was like, we're going to take some photos with our sunglasses on. And so I stuffed these giant rain boxes into our sunglass case, and I put them in our backpack. And I was like, hey, let's take some cool photos with the sunset because we're aiming for sunset and the time is just ticking down and we're running out of time quickly. And so I convinced the girls. I was like, hey, give me your sunglasses. And then, you know what? How about you walk away into the sunset while you take some photos? Just the two of you, make it like romantic and cool and special. And so when they were doing that, I ran over to the backpack and I'm grabbing this the rings, and then I go up and I kiss Cam to distract her, and I hand page the ring.
And then we led into the actual proposal.
Mhm.
And to do so, we did it with our love saying.
Yes.
And it starts with Will,
I go, I love you more than anything in existence.
beyond space and time.
For all my days and after.
And after Cam said that, we looked at
Mhm.
her and said, well, we want to be a part of all of your days and after. And I got on my knee.
I slowly got on my knee, and Cam began to cry with happy,
Instantly.
yep, happy joy. And for those who have commented on the proposal videos, it is literally impossible to look at two people at once. So I don't want to hear that anymore. Okay.
Especially when you're caught up in the emotions. And it ended up being a complete surprise. We thought for sure, okay,
Oh,
before the trip, asking to get her nails done was going to be a clear clue in. The actual horseback ride, maybe a clue in. Doing photos on the beach, clearly a clue in. But luckily, she was still very surprised.
Completely over my head, very oblivious. I had no idea it was coming, and it didn't even seem in the realm of possibilities. It was fairly early on, and yeah, and just all the clues went directly over my head.
Yeah, and the best part was as soon as we proposed and she said yes, uh, then I think shortly after that she was like, "And I should have done my nails. You guys were right. I understand now." And so, ladies, if your man is telling you to do your nails, or your friends is, maybe take that hint. Um, but yeah, so that was the proposal story, and it turned out perfect, and I couldn't ask for a better one. And I actually had let Paige take the lead on asking first because, well, I had already got that option or the chance whenever I asked her to marry me, so I
Mhm.
wanted her to get that opportunity. And now we are planning our wedding.
And luckily, we have help this time. All
Yes.
hands on deck for that.
Yeah, everyone's pull their weight on this one. And so, if you have ideas of where we should get married, preferably outside of the United States, and maybe who should be in a tux, or should we have a rotating stage? Are there to be a bride, groom side? I don't know.
Lots to be seen. And we're currently, in the fun stages of planning the engagement and with our house coming up, combined house welcome party. So I've had a couple folks ask if there are ways that they can contribute and show their support and whatnot of our love. So yes, we do have a registry if you'd like to take a look at that too. And again, send any ideas you have.
Yes, I love you girls more than anything in existence.
Beyond space and time.
For all my days and after.
And for those wondering, that's how that works.
Thanks for celebrating.
Hope you enjoyed story time.
See you later.